We've been together through the wrap-ups, the rankings, the reviews, and now we have our mid-year freakout tag. Time to freak out! Who doesn't like a good freakout? I like a good freakout. We're gonna get our freak on. No, scratch that part out. But we're gonna be freaking out. So we are gonna get a freak on. But not like that. But in a PG, nice, let's talk about books type of way. Because my first take of this is take 2, was so long, we're just gonna be charging through and try and make you here for under 20 minutes. Question number 1 is the best book you have read in 2019 so far. I had a Goodreads reading goal of 75 books, and I've read 66. So I had a lot of reflection to do, especially because, honestly, I've read a lot of books that I have enjoyed, but none of them really stood out to me. They stood out, but it wasn't like, I love this book, new favorite, I'm gonna put this book on a pedestal. I love this book more than I love Kill Maresh. Not possible. But I love this book almost as much as I love Kill Maresh. That is probable. But is it possible? Yes, but not really. Like, you're gonna have to work really hard. Anyways, I went with a book that I really wished I didn't love, but sadly, I am this book series whore. I am this author's whore. I do not know why. Every single criticism out there, I agree with it. I am literally criticizing it with you. I know. And yet here I am. Still standing, the freaking Kingdom of Ash. Why? Why, Sarah J. Maas? Why'd you do this to me? And not, let me go grab this real quick. Hold on. If you didn't think I was pathetic before, I bought the Barnes & Noble's edition. It is so beautiful. I was freaking mad when I saw this, as if she ever wrote Manon as Asian. Which, I mean, Manon's not Asian, but, oh, you know, Asia does not exist in this universe. I know this, but with like Asian-ish features, Asia does not exist in this universe. But you get what I'm trying to say. I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And my dad was like, Aaryn, you have to make it home, don't waste your money. I said, okay, fine, I won't do it, whatever, Dad. And yet, I did the order online and I picked it up like 2 days later. So, just showed you my willpower. I am a Sarah J. Maas whore. I will never buy the miniature versions of Throne of Glass. We're not that pathetic, but we're pretty pathetic. We're more pathetic than... To be honest, my first thought was Mufasa. You died in a ditch in front of your son. Weak! The best sequel of 2019 that I've read so far, and probably all year, let's be real, we're gonna be truthful with you, is The Wicked King. Are we surprised? I'm not, because I kind of already knew this. Also, I feel like I talk about this book series a lot in general. Was not a fan of The Cruel Prince. Was definitely not my favorite. I did actually unprivate a bunch of my old videos, and listen, I did it because I thought you guys would like to see my growth, if there was any. I don't know. You can be the judge of that. My The Cruel Prince review is now back up. So if you guys want to go watch that, I mean, it's your torture. I love The Wicked King because, once again, didn't really like The Cruel Prince, so my standards were low. And that's actually the best way to go into a book with your expectations low, or just at, I'm just here to read and have fun. You're less likely to be disappointed because you weren't really expecting anything. I had a fun time. It was the middle of January. King of Scars, I pretty much got spoiled for the ending too, and I said no. So honestly, my mood and my expectations could not get any lower. I read this book, I freaked out about it. I joined this community that was theorizing and freaking out together. I feel like I have formed a lot of new relationships because of it. One of them being with my friend Zara. I roast Zara all the time, but I love her. She's probably one of my most cherished online friends at the moment, and hopefully in the future too. So just remembering how I met her, she like sent me these Wicked King theories because I asked for them, and I was like, OMG, and I just started freaking out, and she's been with me ever since. Question number 3 is new releases that you want to read this year, but you just have not. I have 4 books that I really want to read, and I am broke. And that is A Sorcery of Thorns, Everyone and Their Mother, Less Love Interest, and I just been seeing a bunch of people read it. The Devouring Grey, I've heard great things about the relationship in that book. It is poly, and I believe it's between 4 people, correct me if I'm wrong, and so I am interested. I do love Kira Tina from the Dark Artifices trilogy by Cassandra Clare, and also just representation in general is great. I wish y'all the best falls a non-binary teenager, and they have recently fell in love with this teenage boy, and I don't really even know if it's like a acceptance type of deal or just like a love story, to be honest. I remember wanting it super desperately in May and just choosing Red, Orange, Royal Blue because that was the book that got all the hype. And I will be reviewing that in my wrap up, so stay tuned if you really want that. Not spoilers, but like my thoughts and opinions. Because it got 5 stars, but also, did I love that book? No, which is weird, but it deserves a 5 stars. And I could not find anything wrong with it, but my feelings just weren't invested, and yet I related so much about that book, and that's not what this is about. And then lastly, Wilder Girls. It is one of my most anticipated releases for the second half of this year. I desperately want it. I believe it's about these girls that go to this boarding school and there's like a mystery. And I also know that the main character is a lesbian and she gets in like this lesbian relationship. So it's getting wrapped. I'm super excited. I want to get it right now. I will definitely be pre-ordering. Yes. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I mentioned how much I love The Wicked King, so I'm definitely going to be right there in line at the bookstore in the morning, sprinting through the doors to be getting The Queen of Nothing, because I am too a queen of nothing, and so I have nothing to do. I can just read all day, pray it away, my pain, that's why I'm praying away. I'm so thankful for the Holly Black. Not Holly Black, the Holly Black, in case there's another one out there. Because homegirl, that book was supposed to come out January 30th, and we're getting it like November 10th, I believe. So, a moment of silence. Yes. Next question is your biggest disappointment. I got 2 books here. I kind of cheated. Like I said, I've done read 6 to 6 books. I deserve to have some leeway. My first biggest disappointment is a book, listen honey, ask me for the essay about why I hate this book on your table. I will give it to you in 2.5 seconds. I hate this book so much. It's like a 1.5 stars. And that is Defy Me by Tahira Moffitt. And you know, Defy Me, it definitely defied my wishes for this series. I'll tell you that. She told us from the jump, and I guess I was not paying attention. The characters, bland. The plot, she's whack. The cover is beautiful, but that's the only great thing about this book. Also, hated Fury Born. Fury Born I went to read so bad last year, and I never got a chance to get it. But then I was talking to my friend Sailor, who tagged me this, by the way, and she was like, I've been meaning to read that too. So we made time and we buddy read it together. 7 chapters a day was not supposed to be hard for me, and yet I had to drag myself up to even grab my phone, my precious, to open up that stupid book and read it in my digital library. And I mentioned my digital library because I plan buying a lot of books recently, and I just want you guys to know I usually do not fall this prey to communism. So the library, I use it. I just want to spoil myself. I also have a friend, Nikki, and I think I mentioned I was reading for to her, and she's like, oh, I hate it. I was like, you hate it, and just kind of declined my feelings about the matter. So I was kind of ranting to 2 people about my thoughts and emotions, and both of them, Nikki and Sailor, my thing is all tangled up, finally can back me up when I say I hate that book. I hate it more than the Hazelwood. I hate Fury Born because you have a big cast of characters, and yet none of them stand out or are special. Now, you have a world, and the 2 timelines that we're following, we have Eliana and you have Riel. Riel is actually 1,000 years before Eliana, so I guess she could be right here because that's how time works. There's absolutely no reason for that time jump to exist. I feel like it was used as a shock factor. If you read that book, you will notice that technology nor society has advanced enough to really justify it. It's been 1,000 years, and yet you guys are still lighting candles. Lastly, the plot just kind of dragged on, and the time jumps were kind of choppy. You go Riel, Eliana, Riel, Eliana. And so you're going 1,000 years into the future, but whenever something big was happening in Riel's chapter, you had to wait like 20 pages through boring Eliana's chapter to get there, and by the time you got there, it was boring. The only redeemable thing about Fury Born is its potential that was going to waste. And next up, we have my biggest surprises. To be honest, I talked so much that I forgot what question I was on. My first biggest surprise was Immortal Reign. Immortal Reign is a part of the Fallen Kingdom series. It is the 6th and last book, and I loved it. And that's the surprise. Honestly, to me in the Fallen Kingdom series as a mixed relationship, I admire its 2 main characters, but the rest of them are kind of blah to me. The plot, similar to Fury Born, it did not completely collapse or fail. But I have always felt like if Morgan Rose just improved her writing or tried to be a bit more like, not lyrical, but like poetic with her writing, you'd be a lot more immersed and into it. And it would just seem a lot more cool, I guess. I don't know. A lot more high fantasy-ish. For that reason, I hated book 5. Book 5 was a lot of drama and filler. I notoriously read book 5, hits out. I started book 5, Crystal Storm, May 2018. I finished book 5, Crystal Storm, January 2019. So the fact that I even picked up Immortal Rain already is shocked. The fact that I loved Immortal Rain more than every single other book in the series of 5 stars, one of my favorite reads this year, another shock. And then we have The Wrath and the Dawn. This book has been on my shelf for about 2 years now. I never read it. It was the book that I just kind of made that awkward eye contact with whenever I brought like 7 new books to my home. Like, boo, we ain't gonna read me? And I said, I don't know, boo. I finally picked her up. I enjoyed her immensely. I read the first book in a day. I finished the second book in pretty much the same day. Both 5 stars. I only really picked it up because Nikki and Zara, who I mentioned earlier, they did not tell me to read this book, but I knew Zara loved it. And then I was talking to Nikki and like we exchanged Goodreads and I saw that this was on her favorites list, and I had these 2 people who obviously adored this book and I trusted their opinions a lot. We always agreed on things. I mean, Nikki hates Reborn more than I do, so I obviously take her word very seriously. So I picked it up. I loved it. I'm surprised by how much I love it. I'm shocked at myself for not reading it sooner. So, fun times. Next up is your favorite new author. And I'm gonna have to, of course, choose Maureen Johnson. I have never been a fan of mystery, especially murder mysteries, and yet I am so invested in this plot, its characters. What's gonna happen next? I don't know, but I'm so here for it. I actually listened to it, and I listened to the second book too. And the second book I actually completed this month, so you guys can hear more about my thoughts on that in my wrap-up later. However, I will tell you guys now, I started that book at 11 p.m. at night while I was doing my laundry as like background noise just to get it started. And then I stayed up till 4 a.m. getting halfway through it. And then the next night I finished that audio book. Book 2, it was just great. It was great. It was flavorful. Maureen Johnson made me appreciate a series from a genre I usually do not care for at all. If the last book is good, it'll probably be one of my favorite series of all time, to be honest. And so Maureen Johnson is definitely one of my new favorite authors. The next question is your newest fictional crush. And listen, honey, listen. We're gonna have to scratch out some words here. Number 1, fictional, because they are real to me. And number 2, crush, because that's my soulmate, that is my husband, that is my sanctuary, that is my love, that is my boo thing, that is my honey bunny, that is my little Antari cheeky poo, and that's Kamarash. I notoriously love, do I notoriously? I feel like I'm not popular enough to notoriously love anything, but I obviously, if you guys have been here for a while, love Kamarash. He's my boo. I love him. This book is so dirty. I probably can get a D's. Next up is your newest favorite fictional character. For this one, I had to go with Tim Mason from The Boy Most Likely To. I actually read about Tim a really long time ago in My Life Next Door by Henley Fitzpatrick, but I never read the kind of sequel companion novels of that book, The Boy Most Likely To, until this year. Overall, the book was a 3 stars, but Tim and just his growth as a character and him truly just trying to get better, like struggling but always just bouncing back and just wanting to push himself is what made me fall in love with him. But he was a sad character, like you pitied him, but he wasn't a sad character. There were things that you could laugh about and joke about with him. He did kind of close himself off on some topics, but he wasn't this character that would just always push people away and never want to get close to him at all. Like, he did adore being around others as much as he tried to deflect that. He's a character that I'm just always going to support and love and root for, and honestly, I will never ask for another Tim book because I do feel like we have closed that chapter, but I just wake up and I root for him every day. Next up, it's a book that made you cry, and once again, I gotta pull out, let me go grab it, she all the way over here, Kingdom of Ash. I do not usually cry during novels. There are only 2 novels out there that I've ever like sobbed to, and that is All the Right Places, and of course, my favorite, my queen, Clockwork Princess. Anyways, Kingdom of Ash made me tear up. It made me feel just immense sadness, even if I wasn't expressing it physically. Definitely just been the most heartbreaking book I've read this year. Next up is books that made you happy so far in 2019. Of course, we have The Red Scrolls of Magic. This book was just so fun. Honestly, I just love seeing Mallet together in a new setting. I just laughed. It was just all crap and giggles, and I just loved it so much. I just want to pinch his little cheek. You just saw so many cameos from these characters from other series, and Raphael Santiago was in it, and that's like one of my favorite characters from the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So I was screaming when he showed up, especially because he got so much light and just so much of his character came out, and I loved it. This one just made me so happy. I was smiling all throughout it. The next question is the most beautiful book that you have bought or received this year. I'd be going with The Opposite of Always and Wicked Saints. Only because I appreciate these book covers for two different reasons. Opposite of Always cover, I love this cover so much because it just truly just tells the story about what it's about. For example, I do love the Charmy covers, but what can you really tell and like see about the novel from the eye? The Opposite of Always is about a boy who's trying to go back and save his girlfriend, and so you see like his outfits changing, whereas her just staying the same because like he's moving on and she's staying in place, and this is so detailed and I love it. Whereas I love Wicked Saints, which I threw over here for some reason. Whereas I love Wicked Saints just because it's beautiful. That's literally it. I just think it's a beautiful cover. So yeah. I don't know if you guys have noticed from other videos, especially wrap-ups, where my books are obviously on display a lot more than often. However, I do like dog-ear the ends of my books. It's also in Raph and the Dawn a lot because I love this so much. And that's because I like to save my favorite scenes. So my fear is that I'm going to love Pride and Prejudice so much that I just want to mark it up and dog ear all around. But this is my $10 Barnes & Noble's edition. It's obviously beautiful. Have not even marked up and done that to my Barnes & Noble's edition of Kingdom of Ash. I do have 2 copies of that though, and I dare read one of them other than the other. But still, would never even think about it. And then I also want to read the Winter's Trilogy so bad. Top of the TBR right now. After finishing Kate Daniels, I am just diving into that thing. I know I'm going to love it. I know it. I have seen the out of context quotes, and let me just say, there's a lot of gasping. So hopefully I get those physically. If not, they're going on my wish list. So that is all for my mid-year freak out. I mean, I don't know if you really freaked out, but it was fun. And that's what life is about. Having fun and working. Yeah. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you did not, don't give it a thumbs down. Imagine what you'd do to me if I saw that. You would crush my spirit. So if you still do that after I said that, you may just be cruel. But seriously, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If I said I was going to link it down below, I will. If I did not, just slap me or don't do it because I just slapped myself. Starting to ramble. That means it's time to go. I will see you later. I love you so much. Goodbye.